Yeah, I do a lot of those things. I tend to do a lot of broccoli, and kale is so good if you cook it right. It really tastes good. And you put a little olive oil on that and some sea salt.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite vegetables. So this stuff doesn't have to taste bad. I mean, it's like, when you think about leafy greens, it sounds like horrible. But
Mm-hmm.
if you do it right, I mean, I used to do a lot of steaming, or even just putting in the frying pan. You can make these things taste pretty good.
Sure, I actually like vinegar with spinach, and I think vinegar is good
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
too. So I think one of the important things too is to focus on the anti-inflammation and disease-causing aspects of the longevity sort of framework of looking at things, because as Barry Sears wrote in the Anti-Aging Zone, which the four different aspects, run through them really quickly. Lower cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. So we did a podcast earlier talking about doing excessive amounts of exercise can be deleterious to that. And then lower your insulin levels and your blood glucose levels, which goes hand in hand with the carbohydrates. So lessen your carbohydrate intake. Maybe less than 100 grams a day, just as a rule of thumb. And then the last one is free radical damage. You want to lessen your free radicals. And a lot of these things like garlic and leafy greens and all that will combat the free radicals. And vitamin D, of course, will help prevent the cancers that can be very lethal, right? We all know people that have died of cancer. So, I mean, I mentioned at the beginning, kind of jokingly, that 1,000 years is what I'm shooting for, but I'm pretty much serious about that, folks, because we're on the cusp. If you read Ray Kurzweil's really optimistic predictions, within the next few decades, we're going to have technologies that will extend our lifespans, gene therapy, all the way to nanomedicine, to assist in reversing the aging process, or at least stalling it. And of course, Aubrey de Grey is also working on this too, The End of Aging. One of the books that he has kind of catalogs the seven deadly sins of what's going on the molecular cellular level that is preventing us from putting a stop to this aging process, or that's accelerating the aging process. So it's important just to keep abreast of this stuff, and also to focus on this nutritional and the mental aspect. I think that it's important to also know that once you get old, you can still be young. You can still be spry. You can still get around. I ran into a guy once who was 93 and he was walking 18 holes of golf every morning. And he was a lot younger than my grandmother, who was in her 70s, right? That didn't do much of exercise and stuff. So it's about state of mind, and it's about keeping in shape and doing those things that are good for you so you don't have to be debilitated when you get old.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think these things are really important to get out there and to make people aware of. But I noticed one thing that I was going to bring up is that there is a psychological barrier to these longevity aspects. I mean, people can hear all day long, this is what's going to make you live longer, what's going to give you more energy. This is what is going to make you, when you're 90 years old, be able to walk 18 holes of golf. But a lot of people have this block. And what happened like the other week ago, I was out and I met these people and they thought I was like way younger than I am. And this happens pretty often, that people are like, wow, I can't believe you're that old. And what's amazing to me is I very seldom hear them say, how do you do that? Or how do you eat? Do you work out? Nobody really asks any follow-up questions to that. It's almost like they look at me like, oh, you must just be totally lucky. And that's just how it is. And I think that comes back to fear of, oh my God, if I ask this guy, what he does, I might have to start restricting my diet or working out more, or something that I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm. Taking responsibility for one's own health and fitness, right?
Exactly. And I think that's the point that I wanted to get across, is that, this is the most important thing in the world. What is more important than your health? I mean, there's nothing, because if you don't have your health, you have nothing.
You're pretty much a goner.
Yeah. So I think that I wanted to leave it at that.
That's important. It's really key to, focusing on not going with the flow, not just following the path of least resistance, but actually using an active-minded perspective to, facilitate your own health and longevity. So I think that about wraps it up. If you like this podcast, you can visit us on iTunes, or just go to our website, healthymindfitbody.com. You'll find the link to iTunes there in the show notes also, and rate and or review the show.
And to get your free audio gift that we're offering, just go to healthymindfitbody.com, the upper right corner, enter in your name and email, and you'll instantly get the 3 pillars for achieving your perfect weight through the mind-body connection. It's a 20-minute audio, and I think that about wraps it up.
That'll get you on course. Okay, to the future and to your longevity. Talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Let me tell you something, Sonny.
In my day,
Back in my day,
you had it easy.
we didn't have healthy mind, fit bodies.
We ate our bread and we liked it.
We just ate stale food and we drank water. Don't be an old fogey.
It's